When you're wiring funds to St. Kitts and Nevis, and you're doing this to pay for your citizenship program, a couple of things that you need to be aware of and the problems that you could run into with wiring as far as US dollars versus crypto. And if you don't know this, it can be costly for you and just a real aggravation. When you wire funds, not just to banks that are in St. Kitts, but the other fast track programs are going to have almost exact laws on wiring funds as far as money laundering goes, as the bank is going to have stipulations when you wire the funds. And these are some of the things you're going to run into. If you wire as low as 50 US dollars, and you don't have this in the US as much as you do in the Caribbean. It's funny how the US government puts pressure on all these other countries that they need to get everything, right, but then they're a lot slacker than the Caribbean is on this. If you wire funds, let's say to a bank here in St. Kitts, what they're going to do is if you do it by US dollar, they're going to do a background check on your name, okay? And the money, if you're wiring funds to our company account, it's not going to go directly to the actual company. It goes through the bank first, and then they do a weeding out process, a money laundering process, before it's applied to our account. And believe it or not, I've had people, they've wired funds that took a friggin' month to get on our account. Now that was rare. That's the longest I've had so far. And I'm going to tell you the story about this guy and what happened. So anyway, when you wire with the US dollar, what happens is they're going to do a background check on your name. I had one guy, he actually sent through the wire, and they picked up another person's name with the same name he had, okay? And what the funny thing was, it was in the same state too. Well, we had to do a police report on this guy, and you have to pay for the police report if they pull that up, okay? So they have to do a background check on you, and they also have to get a police report in that area, and you're going to have to pay again for the police report, okay? And nothing's applied to our account. It's sitting in the bank, but it's not in our account, okay? So basically, they're going to be checking to see if you are that person that's showing up on that check, that worldwide check that they've got. And if you're not, then the funds will clear, okay? They don't see any problems. This guy kept telling me he was not that guy, okay? And I believed him, and found out that he wasn't the guy. Had the same name, same state. This is what was so funny. But it ended up being somebody else the FBI was looking for. So anyway, the problem that you run into, though, is we have to do what's called source of fund sheets. Even if it's $50, we got to do a source of fund sheet. We got to fill that form out. We got to do an invoice. It's a lot of stuff that that you have to do just on a wire coming in. And if your name comes up, like I say, you're gonna have a hold on getting everything done. Okay. Now there is one advantage to that, and that is if you do have background problems and they pick it up, okay, then it saved you from future time in paying any money, because if they pull it up, the major background check will definitely pull it up, okay? There's actually 3 checks done on people. You got one through the bank, one through World Check with the service provider, and then the main one that the background check is done through worldwide. But that's a major one. That takes several months to get done. And they want to make sure that you go through a good process to make sure that if you got a problem, that they pick it up, okay? And if you got a problem, you need to tell it to us ahead of time. If you don't, you'll instantly get turned down for citizenship. You definitely don't want to do that. But this is done actually before you actually sign the contract and pay for service provider fees. So if we can pick that up, then, and that is the only advantage to it, if we pick it up there, then you haven't paid any service provider fees or government fees. The drawback is if they do pick your name up, you're going to have to get a police report, and everything is going to be delayed, okay? Now, and you could be totally innocent, like I said, but you just have a name that's going to match somebody else's that's a criminal. All right, now let's change that and see what happens when you wire by crypto. When you wire by crypto, there is no source of fund sheets fill out. There is no background check that's done on your name. Now, eventually you will have a background check, but I'm talking about the initial money that you're wiring through with our company, okay, if you're doing it with crypto. And there is no, like I said, no money laundering sheets, no like source of fund sheets. And it goes through in a few seconds. That's how quick it is, okay? And it's a lot more anonymous because there's no background check done on your name, okay? So, you know, eventually you're going to have that though, because you're not going to go through the citizenship process without the other two checks. But I'm just telling you up front, you know, it just saves you some hassle in case you are matching some criminal and you're not that guy, but it just delays everything. Then you got to pay for a police report. It's a hassle, okay? Just very confidential with crypto. Now, eventually later, the government is probably going to come in, start changing these laws, but I'll tell you right now, it's actually easier to do a crypto wire than it was wiring to a bank back in the 1950s or 60s. I mean, that's the difference. And I see that eventually changing. I can't imagine the government continuing to let this happen, but for right now, that's the way it is. I mean, it goes through in a few seconds. No one asks questions. No one checks your name or anything, okay? Now, I'm not trying to show you how to get around any laws or stuff like this because, I'm telling you up front, they're going to do 2 future background checks, even if you miss that one. And you should be letting us know in advance if you got background problems to save you time, okay? But if you mess up on the wiring instructions, just one little thing is off when you're wiring fiat currency, then you know, it's going to bounce and you're going to lose a lot of money and maybe several $100s in wire fees. It depends on where you're wiring it from. I'm talking about the fees going out. It's right around 100, 150, 200 bucks, depending on who your bank is in total fees. So you need to make sure you get this done right the first time, the way you want to do it, okay? Now, one thing that you got to understand is that I think Warren Buffett doesn't really pick up on. He criticizes cryptocurrency quite a bit. And one reason he criticizes it a lot is he doesn't understand the hassles and headaches that people go through in wiring versus cryptocurrency. He needs to try. It's not so much what the cryptocurrency is going to do in the future, it's the ease of using it. Okay, this is the easy thing. I just gave you an example of the two, okay? That in itself is worth a lot. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Warren Buffett probably has never used MoneyGram or Western Union. I bet he hasn't used it once in his lifetime, okay? In St. Kitts, if you're doing a wire, okay, not a bank wire, because let's say it's a Western Union or a MoneyGram, they're actually cheaper to do bank wires through those two sources than regular banks. Banks actually charge more on small amounts of money than these two places. And you can tell it because when you go down to a Western Union or you go to a MoneyGram, I've seen in St. Kitts they'll have lines out the friggin' door, okay? You'll spend a third of a day just going through there trying to get a wire through. Now, sometimes it's not that bad. During COVID-19, it was a nightmare, man. People were sending checks to people where they were unemployed all over the place. It was a mess. So, this is the problem that you run into, and this is what Warren Buffett doesn't see. He doesn't see the headaches and hassles and the cost. I've seen some of these MoneyGram and Western Union. Now, I've noticed they've dropped the price dramatically recently. It used to be, I've seen some as high as 10, 15, 18% to wire funds. Now, it's come down a lot, and I think Bitcoin is the reason why that has been, because a lot of people now are shifting where they can wire funds for almost free or right at free and get there in a few seconds. You know, literally quicker than Western Union. It takes maybe around 10 or 15 minutes. And you know, I'll tell you something else too. If just for our purposes, trying to share you this information, when you go in cryptocurrencies, I would tell you too, if you're going to be going in these and you're trying to work with other people in payments and stuff, What we have found out in doing business with a lot of people with crypto is to stick with the main brands like Ethereum and also Bitcoin. Those are the two biggest. We do have some that we dealt with Bitcoin Cash, but most of them have been the first two, Ethereum and Bitcoin, or US dollar Tether, okay? Now, the reason I tell you to stay with those is most people want to pay with that cryptocurrency, and usually what happens is, you can disagree with me on this all you want, but these cryptocurrencies are going to be based on usage, on going up. There is no intrinsic value. The intrinsic value, there's no real estate, there's nothing there. So it's based on how many people are going to use that, okay? And if most people are using Ethereum, Bitcoin, and let's say Bitcoin Cash, of course, has not had the track record that Ethereum and Bitcoin has had, but the two that are rated the best by Weiss Research, and you really should take out some time to study Weiss's their results. They were huge in the insurance industry rating service back in the we used to use them in the 1980s, 1990s. They were the strictest of all insurance company rating services. Very difficult to get an A rating with Weiss. Almost no insurance companies had an A rating with them. It was very difficult. Out of 2,000 life companies in North Carolina, I think there were maybe three of them that had an A rating with Weiss. This is how strict they are. Now, with Weiss Research, you can pull it up. Just put in Weiss, W-E-I-S-S Research, and you can pull up their ratings. And you'll see that Bitcoin is rated, I think, a B or B minus. The only one that has a B plus rating is Ethereum, okay? And they go through a lot of steps on checking on this. The reason I'm telling you this is if you're looking for making payments to other people and you don't, that other person might not want to take that cryptocurrency that you got, and you might want to gear towards these currencies that a lot of people are using, because I think long term your risk factors are a lot less of that cryptocurrency going down. We don't like taking cryptocurrency except for maybe just a few of them. And the reason is you're taking a huge risk, and you're already in a risk by going in Bitcoin because there is no intrinsic value on it. So you need to be going in ones that you think people are going to use long term. Because some of these cryptos that have been around for a while, eventually you're going to see some of these actually go down to nothing, okay? Which ones, I don't know. And Weiss is real good about picking early cryptos that come out. In fact, they were actually advising people to buy Cardano right when it came out. I mean, just right after it came out. So this, and they're real picky on these new cryptos that come out. But I would advise you, if you get a chance, is to pull up Weiss, look at it. The guy that runs this company is real strict. I know the company real well. We used them for years and years and years. Another rating company that used to rate insurance companies was a company called AM Best. But companies that had an A++ rating with AM Best would have maybe a B- or a B+ rating with Weiss. I mean, this is how strict they were. Their guidelines are so strict, it's very hard to get an A rating. And right now, they don't have any cryptocurrencies with an A rating, okay? So if you really want to stay on top of the ones, and it's not just the big ones, they do have ratings on new cryptos that come out. But I've followed this company for years before crypto even came out, back in the 1980s, 1990s. But I think if you look at that, because these cryptos long term, they're going to last without a doubt, are going to be the ones where people are accepting payments more so. If you look at the ones that have the most money, the reason they have the most money is people are trading more with that cryptocurrency. And the chances of that one going down versus a new one, is pretty slim, okay? And my advice is to stick with the big ones. Anyway, I would study Weiss Research and then go with that. If you got any questions, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here. We got new videos, almost 800 now, that will give you good tips on this. And again, when you wire funds, think about this because it can save you a lot of headaches down the road. I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.